When the IRS asks for information, think Section 10. 20. When your client asks for their stuff back, think Section 1028. On the EA exam, they love mixing these up. Your job is to know what you must provide, how fast you must respond, and what you're allowed to hold back, especially when fees are unpaid or the IRS request feels questionable. Under Section 10.2, if the IRS requests records or information, you must comply and submit them promptly. If you don't have the records, you don't ignore the request. You tell the IRS officer you don't have them, give whatever identifying info you do have about who might, and you make a reasonable inquiry of your client about where the records are. Reasonable inquiry is narrower than students expect. You ask the client where the records are, but you are not required to verify what the client tells you, and you are not required to contact third parties, like banks, bookkeepers, or prior preparers, to hunt things down. The exam will try to guilt you into being a detective. Circular 230 doesn't require that. There's also a don't interfere rule. You can't obstruct a lawful IRS attempt to obtain information. Two exceptions matter. If you believe in good faith and on reasonable grounds the information is privileged, think IRC Section 7525, or you believe the request is of doubtful legality. That doesn't mean you ignore the IRS. It means you don't help them bulldoze privilege or an improper request. Now switch to Section 10. 28. Client records. If the client asks, you must promptly return any and all records necessary for them to comply with federal tax obligations. This includes original documents the client gave you and third-party materials they provided. And it can include certain practitioner-prepared documents from a prior engagement, if the client needs them now to comply. The big exam trap is work product and unpaid fees. You must return the client's original records even if they haven't paid you, but client records generally do not include your work product. If the client hasn't paid, you can withhold things you prepared, like a return package, pending payment. One nuance: if the client already paid for a completed copy, that paid-for work product becomes part of what they're entitled to receive. Finally, don't forget IRC Section 6107. If you prepare a return for compensation, you must give the taxpayer a completed copy no later than when you present it for signature. And you must retain either a copy of each return or a list of returns prepared. That list has minimum required details, and the retention period is at least 3 years after the close of the return period. Marisol is an enrolled agent who has information about possible misconduct involving another tax preparer. What is her responsibility if the IRS Office of Professional Responsibility contacts her? The choices range from having to furnish information and possibly testify to having no obligation at all. Think about it. What does Circular 230 require when OPR asks? The correct answer is, she must furnish the information and may be required to testify in disbarment or suspension proceedings. Circular 230 gives OPR authority to request information about possible violations. A tempting wrong choice says she must provide info but can't be forced to testify. That's the trap. OPR can require testimony in those proceedings. With regard to tax returns prepared for compensation, what records are tax preparers required to retain? The options include keeping copies of every return, keeping only physical copies, keeping no special records, or keeping copies with electronic versions allowed. Think about what IRC Section 6107 actually permits. The correct answer is copies of all tax returns prepared, or a comprehensive list of tax returns prepared. That's straight from IRC Section 6107. You can keep the full copies, or you can keep a proper list with required identifying details. A tempting wrong answer says you must keep copies, just physical or electronic, but the key point is, a list is also acceptable.